Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of my channel's intense, real-life stories. I should have seen it coming. Maybe I did, in the tiny cracks that had begun to form across the surface of our marriage. The way she'd laugh softly at her phone, the closed bedroom door for private calls, the faint scent lingering that wasn't hers. But I didn't want to notice. I loved her. And love, I've learned, is the cruelest form of denial. It was a Thursday night, and I remember the exact spot I was in. Our small living room, the flickering TV casting shadows across the walls. She sat beside me on the couch, scrolling through her phone, her leg brushing against mine. I assumed she was sharing one of her usual memes or funny videos. Then she looked up and said calmly, almost too calmly, "I need to tell you something." I laughed nervously. "This sounds serious. Is it?" Her eyes met mine, unflinching, sharp as a knife. "I slept with my boss. And I would do it again." The words hit me like a wave of heavy air that wouldn't move. My chest tightened. My hands, resting on my knees, trembled. I wanted to scream, to throw something, anything to make the world swallow me whole. But all I could do was stare, my mind splintering. "You what?" My voice came out dry, foreign even to me. She repeated it, almost proudly. "I wasn't happy. I craved attention, excitement. He made me feel alive in ways you haven't for years. I don't regret it." The room spun. The couch felt like it was slipping from under me. Every memory, the mornings with coffee, the nights laughing until our stomachs hurt, twisted into lies. I wanted to believe it was a joke, some cruel test of my reaction, but the cold certainty in her eyes said otherwise. I stood abruptly, pacing the apartment like a caged animal. Why? Why him? Why now? My voice was a broken whisper. She shrugged, as if it were nothing, as if it had always been nothing. "I'm not happy. You've been distant. I needed to feel something again, and I did. With him." I sank back onto the couch, fingers digging into the cushions, as if I could carve out a piece of myself to stop the pain. My mind raced, connecting every tiny ignored sign. The missed anniversaries, her lack of interest in my day, the whispered phone calls that ended when I entered the room. They weren't accidents. They were warnings I chose to ignore. For hours we sat in silence, haunted by ghosts. I thought about leaving, yelling, shaking her until she begged for forgiveness. But a darker, quieter part of me wanted to understand, to find some human rationale for forgiveness. But there was none. She tried to justify it. I didn't plan it. Just happened. I was lonely. "You've changed. We've changed." Tears stung my eyes, mixing sorrow with rage. "You could have told me. Anything but this," I said, voice cracking. "You could have left if that's what you wanted." I didn't want to leave. Not yet. Her calmness, the audacity, the fact-stating nature of her confession. It was worse than the act itself. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was stating a truth she had chosen to live with, regardless of the destruction left behind. I left that night, wandering the streets in a daze. Neon lights blurred. Car horns sounded like distant thunder. And I felt detached from my own body. Every laugh, every breakfast, every whispered "I love you," all had been a lie shared with someone else. In the following days, I replayed every interaction, every glance, every sigh, trying to pinpoint when she had slipped away from me. I scrutinized her messages, her scent, her sleeping expressions. I needed proof, but the truth was uglier than I imagined. She didn't regret it. She felt no guilt, only desire. One evening I confronted her. Her eyes were steady, unrepentant. "I need you to hear me," she said. "I don't love him. I love the thrill, the risk, and maybe some part of me loves you too. But it's complicated. Life is complicated." "Complicated?" I laughed hollowly. "You call this complicated?" She shrugged. "I'm not perfect. I made choices. You make yours." And in that moment the anger shifted, not at her, not yet, but at myself for being blind for so long, for trusting blindly, for loving blindly. The power was no longer hers alone. It was mine too. I could choose to stay, to beg for forgiveness, or I could leave and reclaim my life. "I've made my choice," I said quietly. Her confusion flickered briefly across her face. "I don't know if I forgive you. I don't know if I can. But I do know this. I won't live in your chaos anymore." Her lips trembled, not with guilt but with a hint of fear. You can't leave, she whispered. I already have, I replied. The days after were quiet. She tried to reach me, notes, texts, flowers, but everything felt hollow, the shadow of a love I once believed in. Weeks later, I saw her with him, laughing, touching, intimate in ways that had belonged to me. I felt no anger, only serene detachment, witnessing a story I had already exited. Pain lingered, yes, but clarity tempered it. It wasn't revenge or confrontation that healed me. It was the simple act of choosing myself. Choosing to step away from a love that had become poisonous. Choosing to acknowledge the raw, ugly truth. And as I walk forward carrying her confession in my chest, I've learned this. Some betrayals leave permanent scars, but survival, dignity, and self-respect, they are always ours to claim. I never asked for closure. I didn't need it. I asked only for honesty, and she gave me the brutal, unflinching truth. And in that, paradoxically, I found the freedom to rebuild a life she could no longer touch.